Christian Romero leaves the pitch in tears after a collision with goalkeeper Antonin Kinski, sparking fears the Spurs captain may now be out of action for an extended period of time. Sunday's defeat at the Stadium of Light made it 14 games without a Premier League win and a whopping 106 days since the players last tasted victory at Selhurst Park on December 28th. And Mickey van der Ven admits the squad may not have enough time to fully adapt to Roberto De Zerbi's methods as the club edges dangerously close to the drop. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Sports Witness report that Roberto De Zerbi's first match in charge as Tottenham Hotspur manager ended in a 1-0 Premier League defeat to Sunderland. The loss at the Stadium of Light on Sunday meant Tottenham are now staying in 18th spot, 2 points behind West Ham United in 17th. De Zerbi also saw Christian Romero suffer a setback in his first match with Spurs. In the second half, the Argentina international collided with his own goalkeeper Antonin Kinski. He left the pitch crying, raising alarm bells, especially with the national team ahead of the World Cup in June watching on. After the match, the new manager said he's hoping the defender's injury isn't serious. Journalist Veronica Brunati took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to report that the pain persists for Christian Romero. The centre-back is experiencing discomfort and instability in his knee and will undergo tests to find out the extent of the damage. More reports state that the pain persists and the medical examinations should give more clarity about his setback. This is to establish whether he has medial collateral ligament injury or just a blow to his knee. Another major Argentine newspaper, Ole, also state the Tottenham Hotspur star will have an MRI scan on Monday. This is to find out whether he has suffered a serious setback, MCL injury, and if so, how long the 27-year-old will be out of action. It looks like 3 different reports have gathered information from the same source on this, most probably from someone close to Romero. Football.London report that Sunday's defeat at the Stadium of Light made it 14 games without a win in the Premier League and a whopping 106 days since the players last tasted victory over Crystal Palace in December. It's easy to say the players don't care and that they're not trying, but they do and they are. The problem is that they are being reactive through fear rather than proactive through confidence, so they are always one step behind. De Zerbi had 9 days to work with the squad ahead of the game on Sunday. He has made it very clear that he does not have the time to instill his complicated brand of football and instead will act as a psychologist, therapist and cheerleader instead, with just a few tweaks here and there to the system. I can be a big brother, father. They don't need a coach. They don't need to improve football. They can play better and they will play better once we reach a different level of confidence, De Zerbi said after the game. Sunday brought the inverted fullbacks and advanced forwards of the Postecoglou era, the long throws and set pieces of the Frank tenure and the running and long balls of the brief Tudor reign. Spurs were better when they were sweeping forward on Sunday, a sprinkling of well-worked moves getting them in and around the Sunderland box, only for dreadful finishing or a final pass to end the attack. Richarlison, the chief culprit on the day. Yet Tottenham remain fragile and fearful. One pass through the middle will open them up. One cross will find an unmarked opponent in the box and heads will instantly drop. Tottenham and Wolves are the only 2 teams in the Premier League this season yet to win a match after going behind. The Lily Whites just don't have the resolve, and Nordi Mukwele's wickedly deflected effort summed up their season and lack of response. Spurs have fallen behind in 23 different matches during this campaign and have lost 16 of them and drawn the other 7. Before the Sunderland game, De Zerbi staff put together a big rondo to prepare the players to bait and play around the Sunderland press. Everything during it went through Gray. While the others had bibs and switched to the inside of the rondo when they lost the ball, the 20-year-old was the sole go-to man in the middle for anyone looking for a pass. He was the hub of it all, with De Zerbi watching on the whole time, and it was hinted at a tactic that was never realised. Gray was mostly bypassed by his teammates. On the day, he became the second youngest Spurs player to make 50 Premier League appearances for the club, 19 days older than Aaron Lennon. Lucas Bergvall was played in the number 10 role and had even fewer touches of the ball with just 18. Only Solanke had fewer of the starting players on either side with 17. Bergvall is a talented young midfielder, but to use the Swede as a 10, he's not his best fit, and the system was crying out for the creative Javi Simmons in that position. Yet, like Frank and Tudor before him, De Zerbi watched training over the previous week and decided the 22-year-old Dutchman was not for him, despite describing him as a big talent on Friday at his pre-match press conference. Tottenham need to score goals, and Javi is their only fit playmaker, with James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski still out. He simply has to be on the pitch at a time when creating chances and hitting the net is the only thing that will keep Spurs up. Any deficiencies he may have defensively need to be worked around. 3 coaches in a row not seeming to trust him reflects on the player as much as it does them. But in a season when so little has worked, breaking from the norm seems the way to go. Up in the stands, watching glumly on at the Stadium of Light, were Spurs CEO Vinay Venkatesham, sporting director Johan Lange, and one of the owners, Vivian Lewis. Venkatesham and Lange in particular will be well aware that they have overseen an absolute disaster of a season which is currently free-falling towards a suitably horrendous conclusion. While fortune has not been on Tottenham's side, the decisions made along the way have only compounded the problems. There's not a single outward-facing thing about the football side of the club that can be pointed to as having improved from last season under the stewardship. For all the criticism he got for hiring and firing managers, Daniel Levy would never have stuck with the failed Frank experiment for so long amid the overwhelming fan uproar, and it's unlikely he would have turned to the winless Tudor as the solution. That's not to absolve the long-serving chairman of blame. The club's malaise began under him, and it is unlikely that Spurs would be in this dire a situation 7 years on if different decisions had been made during and since the Pochettino's tenure. Even if Levy and the board had not sacked Postecoglou off the back of finally ending the club's trophy drought, this Spurs season would unlikely have been this awful. The Australian would have prioritised the Premier League this time around as he did with the Europa League last season. Goals would have been scored and the club would certainly have not been on its second longest run without a win in the league in their history, behind only 16 games in December 34 and April 35. Next up comes De Zerbi's home debut at the Spurs Stadium, and fate has ensured that his old side Brighton are the visitors, and of course they are Premier League's form team right now. Spurs have to find a way through and win, because Leeds and Nottingham Forest host 20th and 19th place Wolves and Burnley respectively, while West Ham travel to Crystal Palace off the back of their 4-0 hammering of Wolves on Friday night. Something must change at Spurs before it's too late. Fear has seeped into every nook and cranny of the North London club, and it's time for all inside to remember the motto it's built upon. To dare is to do. If there was ever a time for that to be expressed, lived and breathed and carried out, it is now. It needs to be more than simple words or on a wall or a badge. The only way for Tottenham Hotspur to survive this season from hell is if they come out swinging and scoring. Their identity crisis must end before it consumes them. Tottenham Hotspur's relegation battle has taken on a new sense of urgency after defender Mickey van der Ven admitted the squad may not have enough time to fully adapt to Roberto De Zerbi's methods as the club edges dangerously close to the drop. In the wake of another damaging defeat, Spurs remain entrenched in the Premier League's bottom 3, with just a handful of games left to salvage their season. The Dutch centre-back delivered a candid assessment of the situation, acknowledging that while the new manager brings a clear philosophy, the brutal reality of the fixture list leaves little room for a bedding-in period, and that they must prioritise survival over style. Van der Ven's comments underlined the scale of the challenge facing De Zerbi, who has inherited a fractured squad, low on confidence and short on time. The Italian, renowned for his intricate tactical approach, would ordinarily require weeks, if not months, to properly implement his ideas. Instead, he has been thrust into a survival fight where results must come immediately. The defender suggested that Tottenham's priority cannot be long-term development or stylistic refinement, but rather grinding out points by any means necessary. With only a limited number of matches remaining, Spurs are effectively operating in a win-now scenario where learning on the job carries significant risk. This concern is compounded by the club's ongoing struggles. Tottenham are enduring a prolonged winless run and have slipped to 18th in the table, of course, with rivals picking up crucial results around them. The lack of confidence within the squad has been identified as a key issue, with De Zerbi himself admitting the problem is as much mental as tactical. Despite the bleak outlook, there remains a belief within the camp that survival is still achievable. De Zerbi has attempted to shift focus away from complex instructions, instead prioritising belief, resilience and unity in the dressing room. However, Van der Ven's stark warning highlights a fundamental tension, the need to embrace a new identity while simultaneously fighting for immediate results. The timing of the managerial change may ultimately define Tottenham's fate. With multiple coaches having already come in and gone this season, the squad must now rapidly adjust once more, this time under the most intense pressure imaginable. As the season enters its decisive phase, Spurs' survival hopes hinge on whether De Zerbi can strike the delicate balance between instilling his philosophy and delivering instant improvement. For Van der Ven and his teammates, there is little margin for error and, as he bluntly put it, very little time left. Okay, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Mainly centres around the Sunderland game, of course. Firstly, losing Romero. It's just been one of those seasons, hasn't it? We've just not had our share of luck. Yes, we've been bloody awful for the most part, but we certainly haven't had the luck to go with it. But with injuries, find out hopefully later this week whether Romero's injury is as bad as perhaps the centre-back feared. Crying, walking off the pitch in tears generally doesn't happen, that sort of thing, when it's a minor injury. So let's just hope we can. Let's just hope it's not a bad injury for Romero, because we need all hands on deck at the moment, don't we? Romero, I think, has come in for a lot of criticism. I'd personally rather have Romero in the team than not. So let's see what happens there. But again, just bad luck. Bobby pushed Romero into Kinski, and on another day he just goes over the top of him and doesn't pick up anything. But it's just Spurs luck at the moment, isn't it? Just Spurs luck. On the Sunderland loss, and Van der Ven talking there, is survival over style, you know. I personally didn't see much different in that Sunderland game than we've seen before. The players do look like they're playing with fear. There were glimpses in that first half. I don't think we started that badly, to be honest with you. There were glimpses of something, but that's all it was, a glimpse. And as soon as we went 1-0 down, the heads went down. They did. And I think the players are so used to losing now. I just don't think they've got it in them to get back into games. The stats speak for themselves. Absolutely horrendous season, isn't it? I mean, it's the worst I can remember in my lifetime, certainly. I mean, I was alive last time we got relegated, but I was only 4, so I don't remember that at all. But yeah, it's not looking good, is it? I mean, how do you guys feel? Get down in the comments, let me know. Do you think that's it? Is that done for you? Or do you think, 6 games left, can we somehow get something? We just need to climb out of that relegation zone firstly, and with the teams around us having seemingly easier fixtures this weekend, I mean, we could be even further behind if we don't beat Brighton. West Ham obviously going to Palace, but with Leeds and Forest obviously playing Burnley and Wolves, it's like the perfect storm of fixtures for Tottenham, isn't it? And typically we're playing the Premier League's informed side in Brighton. Bizarrely, obviously, these coincidences seem to always happen. De Zerbi's first home game is against Brighton, his old club, of course. So, we could be really, really deep in it. this time next week. But look, let's hope they can find something. I think if we can just find something, find a win from somewhere, somehow, then it could turn around. But games are running out, and I think people's hope is running out. Mine included. It's so difficult to see how we're going to get out of this. It's just been free fall, hasn't it, since December, probably even before then, to be honest. But yeah, what a season, what a terrible season, presided over by the board, Vinay and Johan Langer. What a failure this season has been. How much of a failure have they been? Hang your heads in shame. You got blood on your hands, all of you. You could have done something in the transfer window and you didn't. You sold our top scorer. You never replaced him. We sold Sonny in the summer. You never replaced him. And you brought in Conor Gallagher and a 19-year-old Brazilian. Terrible mismanagement. Really awful. I'm sorry it's not good news today, but as you can imagine, there's not much out there at the moment. Get down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. As always, come on you Spurs.